Hey everybody on YouTube, once again I am going to do a quickie tutorial on getting a train car to follow a track because the last one was unacceptable. So we'll get that. Yeah, it wasn't that good. But I'll leave it up there so you can have a laugh at my expense, and I'm just being silly anyways. So let's try this one more time, a train test. Which is the project I saved the original setup as, and it should still be the same, so let's do that. Blender 2.68. Alright, that's what I'm using. So here we have a train on tracks, and if I scroll out and move around a bit, you can see the track zigs back and forth. And if you look in my outliner here, there is a NURBS path that the rail is actually an array and a curve modifier, so that is set up, and you can go see, I guess, Andrew Price. That guy made a nice little video showing how to do that, so if you see him on YouTube, just say, hey, that was a cool tutorial. And this one's quick, it's nothing too fancy, so turn that back off. I don't need to grab that. Everything in that regard is where I want it, as long as the rails and stuff too. So what we have, let's get back to our train car. And I'll jump back to it. What we have is a train car with bogie trucks that have each has a pair of wheels on it. So let's just turn off the train car so we can see our bogies. This is what the train car rides on. Let's do. It's a pretty basic model, nothing too fancy, because I just wanted to see if I could do this and get it working. Somebody on the forum asked if it was possible to have a train car follow track. I'm sure it's quite possible. And I already had the train car set up with materials and parenting with the wheels and stuff in the right direction. But I left the bogies separate because to rig, I'm going to have it follow the bogies. But where I goofed up is in setting up the origins of the bogies and doing some offsets, which is why they wouldn't follow the track exactly the way I liked it. So this time around, I am going to fix that. So first, I am going to select both wheels. Actually, first I gotta select each pair of wheels and set their origins. Origin to geometry. Origin to geometry. Okay. So what that does is instead of having an origin in the middle of the original mesh model, moves it to the middle of the mesh for the wheels. So the whole entire model, when you import it, the origin is like the center of the model. We don't want that, so origin to each pair of wheels. Select more than one pair of wheels, and what I will want is to move the cruiser right in the middle of all those, because the middle of both of these wheels is where the pivot of the bogie should be. So let's do that, but we're not going to do the origin. We are going to do object, snap, and cursor to select it, and if we move the view around, it should be right in the center of both wheels. Just a little bit of perspective in here, so if I go ortho and view from right, it's right in the middle of both the wheels. And one more thing, I'm going to want to move the cursor right to the bottom, so Z will be 0, and that's where the path lies, because the whole path I kept straight flat on Z, in this case. Anyway, it will ride on the rails. The offsets are already set up, so we want the part that follows the path to be right on the path. So gotta do that too, because what we're going to do now is select the bogie above the cursor, set the origin to the cursor. Bam. So now when the bogie gets moved, its origin is right there, and that's where we want it. And now we get to do the same thing with the next bogie. So I'll just do it, and you can watch. Oh, alright, here we go. Same thing, origin to geometry, origin to geometry. Select both of them. Snap the cursor. Where's the cursor? There's the cursor. Cursor to selected. Alright. Now we pick the bogie. And origin 3D cursor. And oh, we forgot to do one little thing. Now we do it. Alright, yeah, that's important. Now we're good to go on those. And now we get to set up. Oh, before we set up thing, what I want to do is pick that, because I am going to want the 3D cursor in place for alignment, or at least eyeballing it close enough. So, object. Oh snap. Oh snap. Alright. Cursor to selected. Yeah, we want the cursor right there, because that's going to be what we're going to line up with. Because this is where I goofed up last time, so I better catch it this time around. Because otherwise all my effort will be wasted here. So, the cursor is where we want it, but when we did the offsets of the actual cart and changing the origins, I believe it offset, yeah, X is 0. Just make that 0 positive, it shouldn't matter. But the Y, which is forward, back in Blender, is offset. And when we set this thing to follow the path, that will be how far forward it is offset to constraint. So we want this to actually be 0. That's what totally messed me up last time. I totally did not catch it. But what happens in relation to the cart is if I turn this car back on, this is overlapping right now. But that's okay, because when we put our constraint on, which we are going to do right now, add a constraint to the Bogie, and we want this to follow the path, and we assign it to the path, it's going to go off in a weird spot again. But that's okay. I think we got settings okay. So all we need to do is click follow curve, and it should jump back. Oh, it jumped onto the rails again, at least if you can see it. But while we're watching this 3D cursor, what we are going to do is change this offset number here under the object constraint. And that's going to offset it along the path. And it should bring it back into position. Actually, I think it's negative in this case. Now we just click steps, because otherwise it goes really fast, I think. Whoop. Probably lost it already as it is. What? Just like small number like 8. Or negative 8 maybe. Negative 5. It scrolls, yeah. It scrolls way too fast if you try scrolling it. I don't know why it does that, but sure. Let's go back to our ortho view. There's our cursor, and we're going to bring the card up using the offset so it is close. Eyeballing it. At 7. It's pretty darn close to having an origin there. Let's go. Click on that. 6.5. Oh. Maybe 7.5. It's too much. 6.75. Let's try that. Oop. 'Why is it? I'm trying to click the number and it keeps doing increments. Alright. 7 is a little bit. 6. So we want just a little under 5.69 maybe. Negative 5.69. Oh. 7.2. Oh. It's tricky sometimes. I'll just go back to 5.7. It was close as I could get it. That's going on there without being too far off, so just leave it like that. Okay. And since we're here lined up with that and that, What I'll do next is use the cursor to position our pivots, since I'm already lined up on there. Or actually, I could just move cursor to selected again, and that way the pivot will be on there. That'll be a good way to do it. That way I won't have too many questions as to where it is. So let's do that. Let's go object. And snap. There we go. So we gotta go cursor to selected. And now we want to move our cursor up. Which will be what, the z-axis. Somewhere like that. Just make this 8.5. There. That's where the train car will pivot. So now we add a empty plane axis. And there we go, plane axis. And that will be our pivot. So we'll name this. This is what? Bogie A. Bogie truck A. So we want to name this. Oops. There. I want to name this empty pivot A. And now we have a pivot point. And our train car is going to go around that pivot, so we will make the train car a child of the pivot. So we'll drag that to pivot A. Pivot A is the child of Bogie truck A. And now we want to do is, let's go back and do the same for Bogie truck B. Did we do the same for Bogie truck B? Hold on. No, we didn't do the origins yet and all that stuff, did we? Well, we did the origin, but we didn't do the, what was it? The constraint. So let's do that. Bogie truck B. Follow path. Actually, we want to put our cursor in place. Something to align to get it close. So let's do that. Snap the cursor to the selection. There. Our cursor's there. Now we do the constraint just like we did a little bit while earlier. And follow path. Pick the path. The only one on here is NURBS path. That's the same one I used to make the rails. See it this time you can see it turn sideways, but we click follow curve. And it should be somewhere on the curve. Which isn't exactly it goes off the track a little bit. It doesn't line perfectly. But like I said, we'd use the offset to bring it back where we want it. So that's what we do. Let's keep clicking offset. Add. Oh, negative 3.2. Oops. Yeah. 3.25. And that is about as close as we can get it. I don't know of any way to snap this offset to match where the cruiser is. It'd be nice if there's a trick to that, but I don't know it. There might be. There's always little things like that that I am left not knowledgeable of. So, if you know it or know the trick, feel free to leave it in the comments. So the next person who comes around to do this will be able to. We want the cursor Z to 3.5. Actually, what we want to do is snap the cursor. We don't want the pivot to be centered over that bogie, or the pivot target in this case. So, where's snapped? Where is it? Here it is. Cursor just selected. Alright. Move to Z to 3.5. Then we add another empty. That will be pivot B. And then pivot B is going to be a child of Bogie B because we want it to follow the second bogie. Let's shrink that one down and Bogie B. It's right there. That's going to be your target tracking. Because, let's see, we got the train car attached. So if we grab Bogie truck A, Hold on a sec. Change my view around a little bit. So we got Bogie truck A. Grab it. The train car should follow it. Yeah, we're good there. But we still want Bogie truck B to stay where it is. And now what we do is we select the pivot point, pivot A. And what we want to do is it a constraint? I think so. And damn track should be good enough. And we want that to point towards pivot B. And wham! Okay, so now it goes backwards. That's easy enough to fix. We just go to the negative of the axis that it went backwards on. So there. So now if we grab Bogie truck A, let's just grab it. We can always see that the train car will point towards the pivot for Bogie truck B. So now we should be good. So let's test that. And to move the track, we don't move the cart down the track with the movers or anything else. What we do is we go to the NURBS path. We can turn that on if we want. Don't really need to move the NURBS path, but we go to the NURBS properties. And we move back a bit. And now it should work like it was supposed to the first time around. This is where I was like going nuts last time. I was like, what's wrong? But yeah, you gotta have the offsets of those wheels right to the middle. Did I remember to do that with the second wheels? Probably not. So let's do that real quick too. I gotta redo the offset again. Dope! Alright, so let's go Bogie truck B. Bogie truck B needs to have its origins all 0. That's where I messed up last time. So all have to be 0. And watch, it's going to jump some spot. Because then that makes my constraint offset. It has to go back. And I'll just eyeball this thing vertically. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It doesn't. Close is good enough for most of these things. Like I said, if anybody knows the trick to make that offset match from where the goes through space, that would be great. But I'm still a noob. I don't know it offhand, so. Oh. And it's just gotta take like a hair or two. Oh. See, it moves way too fast. It's a variable. This needs to be like -2 or something, or -3 something. You try dragging it, it goes like 5,000 miles an hour. Alright. Here we go. And eyeballing it, that looks like it's right under there. Okay. Right under where I left the cursor last. Yeah, that's important because otherwise it will not follow the track like you want it to. Those have to be 0. that's what's like, why isn't it following the track? Okay, this key thing to remember, you want to 0 out that when you shift the origin of the object, you want to make sure all these are 0'd, because then you use the constraint to position it and you line it up. So now we should be good. Let's go back to our NURBS path. NURBS path. We go NURBS path properties, and this is how we move the object under path animation. So both of these bogies will follow that path, which the rail is also generated with. So you can lock. You don't want to really select it. Why isn't it? Oh. Why is this thing like? I don't know. You want the properties of the NURB build. You just don't want to be able to move it for. Don't worry. What we want to drag is the evaluation time. And if I move the evaluation time up, you can see the bogies follow the track. Not only that, the train car stays positioned as it should be, right above the bogies. So if I move this, right around the corner, right around the bend, the train car stays right between both bogies, pivots right along. That's how real train cars follow tracks too, just like that. So if I take this on a tight curve, go to our NURBS path here, just move some evaluation time along. Come on. Oh, it's so fast here. Part of it is my computer's recording, and part of it is Blender's just want to be slow right now. But it's probably because it doesn't have all the cores. I gave one core to the recording software, 3 of the cores of Blender, hoping that would make it go a little faster, but maybe not. So that's 30. Let's try 35. Get it on a tighter spot of the curve. Yeah. You can see the train has overhang. So you can only corner the track so tight, but that's true with the real train too. But if you repeat the process, like, I guess you gotta shift the offset of the car like as far forward as you want the car. So I just did when I started out, I had the car. Let's move to frame 0 again. If you're gonna do multiple cars, heck, why don't we just do that? Let's take car and how do we want to do this? How can we get the pivot to follow? Or no, we'll just eyeball it. Who cares, right? Honestly. Okay, in this case, who cares? If anybody knows a better trick, just feel free to comment. But say I want to move this train car down a track. So we'll move this offset, like, whoa, that's way too far. Let's go to -15. There. And then what we'll do is we'll select the next bogey to put it in position. And that'll probably be like -8 maybe. It's getting closer. But you want it under where it belongs. See, that part stays with it because of the pivot, but this one doesn't track on its own. I tried, what was the other constraint? Not follow path, but it was like, I think clamp 2 or something. Or maybe it was track 2. No, it was clamp 2. It's track 2 point stuff at it, right? But I tried clamping it to track, but that doesn't preserve the orientation of the thing, which is important because you want this to always face down the path. And I didn't see a way to keep it pointed the right direction when you use that one. It'll keep it locked on there, but it won't keep it pointing the right direction and following the curve, which is important. So you just got to do it this way. Yeah, we move this forward. Alright. And now we want to duplicate the whole thing again, right? So, is that like duplicate group, maybe? Select group. I did have it grouped. Oops. Yeah, group. So that should select the whole thing and duplicate objects. We want, what was it, y-axis? Yeah, it's not wanting to cooperate. Well, we should be able to move y. Actually, you should probably do that part before you get it on there. Well, let's see if we can clamp this and the stuff should follow, right? It's this thing, I already have the modifier and stuff I need on there. The properties. Yeah, it's already got the stuff attached, so all we need to do is attach these bogies to the rails, right? Oh, and they are. Huh. Oh, you know what I gotta do is take this bogey. 0 to location again. You know what? Let's undo duplicate. This isn't too laggy. Control C here. Doesn't want to cooperate, does it? What's it doing this? Oh, lag city. Actually, what we want to do is duplicate that car but not move it at all because everything had all the stuff together. Oh. Select by group. Oh, now they're both in the same group. I can't do it that way. Huh. I don't want us to delete everything I just did. Bounds, maybe? No, Excel select the track if I'm not careful. Or wait. Oh, I have deselect on the track. I should be able to do that. So we do bounds. Down shift, and it should deselect that one. Good, now I can just delete that. And I want to do is select this one. Select the group. Okay, there's a method to the madness. I just have to figure it out. Like I said, I'm still in business. So select that, and we just duplicate the object. Let's duplicate. It should be 0. Now nothing should have moved. But what we want to do is, yeah, it appended the 001. So Bogie truck 00 B00. So what we want to do is move that Bogie back by using the constraint. So we'll do that. We'll do it's like -3 or 4 or something like that. There, bam, that Bogie goes back to where we want it. And with Bogie truck A001, train car A001 should follow it. Hopefully. Hopefully. If not, I'll just laugh and end this tutorial right now, but F10. And Bogie truck, the other one is it visible? Okay. Bogie truck B, Bogie truck B. Did I not grab the train car when I did this? Why doesn't it now work? Why does it now want to work? Ah. Oh. It's still not cooperating. Let's select all that. Let's just delete it. Ah, where did I go wrong? Come on. Need the second one. Head. Trick A, pivot A. It should have the train car. Oh, why is it? It's parenting to the wrong thing for some reason. I don't know why it's not keeping that. Street cars. I don't know why it's doing it. Should do is copy the whole thing and have the parents to the group of the thing that it just copied. It's probably a way to make it work correctly, but I don't know offhand. Let's try this again. Let's do select the train car. Select the group. One more time. Come on, let's get it right this time. Group. Alright. Let's duplicate it. Everything should be selectable. Yes, I think so. Let's duplicate it. With a movement of 0. Set 0 so it doesn't move. And then we truck A001. See the pivot? I don't know why it's sticking onto this one. There should be a pivot A001 and didn't copy that either. I don't know why it's not doing it right. But this should be attached to that one. So we'll just take pivot A and duplicate it, I guess. Well, you know why? Because I didn't make the when I made the group that had the train car, it didn't have all the pivots in it. That's why. So they did not get selected. Derp. Alright. So what we want to do is just copy the pivot, right? Let's duplicate pivot A. Pivot A001. Okay. And that goes to Bogie truck A001. And I guess we do the same thing with. Now we can move the train car. Oh, where is it? Check A. Pivot A. Train car 001 goes to A001. Pivot 001. So this is to go to that. Alright. Now it looks like we're getting somewhere. Did I hide a Bogie truck? Okay. I am trying. Still new at this. Just a little annoying. So now let's try the opposite. 8. And it's being weird. Where's the pivot? I do not see the pivot. It is in a weird location, I think. So what we want to do is view, and let's take our cursor. Let's remember how we snapped it. So what we want to do is snap. See, this should be faster. I think if I grouped everything after I finished at this stage, it would have worked right. So you know when you group, make sure to have everything ready first too. And get your axes and whatever. So let's do a snap to selected, cursor to selected. Let's move our cursor up. What was it? 3.5. Where's the cursor? Oops, not 305, 3.5. Now I'll put it up higher. And we want pivot A001, which is in a weird location. Now what we want to do is snap that. Snap selection to cursor. And now our train car went flying off into space. Dang it. I don't know. Yeah, I think when you do this, you gotta have it all grouped if you're going to select and copy everything. And I forgot to grab my pivots. Shall we try one more time and just get rid of all this crap? Bogie A001, pivot A001. Let's do that. Let's try. Third time maybe the charm. So, Bogie truck A001. So we don't want more than one car in a train. We just. It's one thing to get the car to follow the track, but to be a train, you have to have more than one car. So let's do that. Let's get this working. Bogie truck A, Bogie truck B, get rid of all the extra wheels. Oh, I gotta clean up this mess, huh? Still have the train car. Alright, one more time. So, what I want to do is select. We'll select by group. We did before. But we also want to grab our pivots. So let's do it. Pivot A. And B. Hopefully that will have everything in the group attached. So let's try one more time. Duplicate 0. And I think that may have worked. Alright. Let's go to Bogie truck B. Let's move the offset so this will go back. We go track A. That should move the car back with it, right? Yeah, awesome, awesome. Okay, so to make your train, you gotta do it like that. Alright. Now I see. Let's just scoot this up a bit. Like I said, there may be a better method, but this is the one I can think of. Should be close enough. Do the same here. Oh, that's right, metal drag. This thing used to do it some things in the other programs. Which are very easy to become a blender. And although it should be easy too, it's just that you're used to doing the other way and you messes you up. Just a little bit. Alright. Need to offset. There. That looks good. That looks good. And like I showed you earlier in this video, now we should have 2 train cars following the track. Round the curve. And we'll go back through that path. So go back to our nerves path. Go back to nerves path properties. Evaluation time. Let's drag that up a bit. It's going to be a little bit laggy on here. Yep, and the cars move down the path. Just as they would on a real train. So you got your bogies following the track, and they're spaced out, and your cars are spaced out. And it should all look all groovy now, right? All good. Whoop. Where'd it go? Lag! Oh, what the hell, my train derailed? Oh, it's because my evaluation time. I didn't want my train to derail. I wanted it like 25 or something. Come on. There it is. Alright. Where am I at? See? So now you should be able to animate your train going down the tracks. You just gotta set it up to follow the curve on the path. And doing it with the bogies is probably the best. You could do it like a whole car, but you better have hardly any noticeable bend in the track if you do it that way. If you do it with the bogies, you will have a good, realistic method of following and tracking it, going around that track. So if I were to kick that up to 30 maybe? Just gotta wait for it. Yeah, it goes right around the bend. 40. There you go, there's train cars following a path on tracks. Now you got your train cars and you can animate them. I think I would do the same with the engine, but the engine usually has the drive wheels. Like if you're talking a steam engine, electric train will have bogies just like cars too, but on a steam engine, your wheels, the drive wheels, will be permanently attached to the engine, which means only the front wheels would be a bogie, so you want to keep that in mind when you design your constraints for pivots, that those wheels are stuck to the car. So you might want to have the back like pivot to point at this, but those wheels will be attached instead of following their own thing in an extra pivot, just so you know. Alright, that's it. That's all you get for now. But yeah, you can animate a train following a path in Blender, no problem. There you go.